Hey guys, this video is going to be a little bit different. We've been talking a lot about the technical aspects of implementing Odoo and acting like a developer on Odoo, but I want to take a step back and talk about project management and systems implementation, different principles and really different archetypes that we want to embody as we go about the process of implementation and planning for implementation. I find that these 5 archetypes are really important for me to try and develop in myself to become a better project manager and to make sure that I'm doing the most that I can in the most efficient way that I can. So let's get into it. Number 1 is the minimalist. I don't know how many of you guys have been through Systems 101, but one of the biggest things they talk about with development that can kill any development is feature creep. What we want to embody as we're coming into this, again, is that minimalist mindset, okay? How can we do more with less? How can we get a minimum viable product into production sooner rather than later? So a lot of this goes along with agile methodology where we say, okay, I don't need a car today. A scooter would do just fine, or a bicycle would do just fine. We want to look at any project that we're going into and say, what is the very base functionality that I need to get me to where I need to go? That's it. We don't need to go ahead and say, what's my dream state? I need to get to my dream state before I can go in there. The worst thing we can do in any project is say, this needs to be absolutely perfect. Give me every single feature that I want before we're going to go ahead and do it. We want to, again, going into the agile methodology framework of things, look at it and say, I can build a scooter. I can do that right now, get it into production, get people used to using it, get the benefits from that, and then go to a bike, then go to maybe a four-wheeler, that sort of thing. But we want to approach this with a minimalist approach. And this also applies to our forms and views. Less is more. If we can do more with less, using automations and things like that, we want to do that. So I would encourage you to develop that minimalist mindset and embody that archetype for yourself. Number 2, and this one may make you laugh, but I think it's very important. The next archetype is the cheat or the borrower, okay? It's no longer frowned upon to look at your neighbor's paper and say, oh, okay, I can use that, and stick it into your own system. Also, if somebody's built an app that will get you 90% of the way there, buy it, implement it. If you need to, shop it out to Fiverr to get it a little bit closer to what you need, but get very familiar with what's on the App Store so that you can utilize that for yourself. And that obviously goes as well for understanding what you can do in Odoo. Okay, you can go in and you can say, well, this filter looks a lot like what I want to do. It's saying, let's capture the last 7 days and look at things that have been closed in the last 7 days. Go in, look at that filter, copy the code, and adjust it for yourself. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to create the wheel. We can buy the wheel, or we can copy somebody else's wheel. That all makes us more efficient, and it makes it so that we can get our project off the ground sooner rather than later. So don't worry about being a cheat. Don't worry about being a borrower. We want to go in and we want to use what's out there effectively. We want to go ahead and say, all right, they've done it before. I don't need to do it again. I don't need to be proud about this. If it works, it works. So become a good cheat, become a good borrower. It's not a bad thing anymore. The next one is the delegator or the communicator. A person who can organize resources and other people to do more is always going to be more effective than a person that has to learn everything and do everything themselves. It just works that way, okay? A specialist is much more effective at what they do than a generalist is going to be. If you can develop the skill to be able to organize other people to do what you need to do, you're both going to save money and time, and you're likely going to come out with a better product in the end. Now, obviously, my channel is all about doing it yourself, but there are some things that we just don't need to do ourselves, okay? It's good to be familiar with how it works so that we can communicate clearly with people. But I would encourage you as often as you can to look at things and say, would it be more effective for me to shop this out to somebody else? Maybe I find a contractor on Fiverr, somebody that can do it there, or maybe I find a consulting partner if I want to go that far, okay? Make sure that you become good at framing things in a way that you can delegate them, because even if you don't delegate it, it gives you a clearer picture of what you're trying to do, and that's always beneficial. So become good at delegating things and encapsulating projects and tasks in such a way that you can effectively delegate those things. The fourth one is the listener. Okay, we don't need to be the smartest person in the room. In fact, one of my favorite sayings is, a wise man once said nothing, meaning we learn more, obviously, the more that we listen. Now, this kind of lends itself to the delegator as well, because we need to be able to listen and find out if the person that we're going to be delegating a task to understands what we're thinking. Okay, we want them to parrot back what we've told them and make sure they understand it. Okay, beyond that, if we're trying to learn, if we're trying to grow, if we're trying to find out what our people need, because we don't do every job in our company, we need to be able to listen, to be able to parrot back ourselves, and make sure that we understand. Obviously, the biggest thing here is understanding, making sure that they understand us, we understand them, and that we're all on the same page so that we can get an effective project taken care of. Okay, if you can do that, if you can listen well, that is one of the greatest skills that you can develop. So I'd ask you to embody that archetype as you go into project management. Okay, number 5, our last one, and possibly the most important for saving you time and money. You may laugh at this, but this is the worrier. Okay, you may or may not be familiar with the concept of inversion thinking. It's all about identifying all the things that could go wrong, turning that around, and making things go right. Our brains have evolved to look at risks, to identify risks, to worry about things. And the more we worry about things, the more we can take care of that stuff. Now, as a project manager, it is key that you learn to identify risks, that you learn to mitigate risks. So learn to worry. Obviously, don't let it overwhelm you, but learn to find risks, identify those risks, make sure it's clean, because nothing can derail your project more than not thinking about it or worrying about it enough where you see potential problems and you shore up those issues before anything goes wrong. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. You may not agree with all these archetypes, and that's okay. I feel when I apply these and look at things from a bigger picture view, I become more effective. The projects that I implement for myself and for clients become better. And it just helps me to slow down and look at things from a position of principles than just looking at it and saying, okay, let's go ahead and jump into this, throw in something ad hoc, and not think about how we should really approach these things. So I'd encourage you, whether you like these archetypes or not, you may not like the minimalist, the cheat, the delegator, the listener, or the warrior. You may not like any of those, but look at the way that you're implementing projects and try and frame it in principles, okay? I'd encourage you to check out Agile methodology or any of these other principles. It's always going to help you out to go and look at the bigger picture and not just work on improving your skill set as far as it goes with technical skill sets, but look at project management as a whole and organizing yourself and not just jumping into things, without looking at how it's based in principles. So good luck. Hope this helped.